Good morning, Facebook humans. Morning, team. Lisa with Positive and Productive, one of my favorite ways to start a Monday. Um, Disclaimer, I am not a guru. Duh. I also don't know everything, but I can promise I'm going to share with you everything I do know, and I've certainly made lots of mistakes, which have led me to some knowing. Um, so positive and productive doesn't mean that I'm always positive or always productive. It just means I've got my finger on my pulse when it comes to those things because I've made enough mistakes to learn some stuff along the way. So that being said, let's get into the strategy. If you've been here before, they all kind of relate or go together. So today's strategy, you might hear some things you've heard me say in the past. I'm just gonna elaborate on them or talk about them in a new way. But before I get going, I just want to say good morning to Vinny and Lynn. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and hope that you find some useful tips. So today's strategy I want to talk to you about is a folder system. Um, Disclaimer, I love manila folders. They bring me joy. I even wrote a poem about loving them the other day, which if we have time, I'll just randomly share it at the end. But I recommend getting 3 folders. And here's you can get more and do more. I actually have way more than 3, but these 3 are kind of a necessity. And before I want to tell you about those, I just want to set the context. Incoming mail, piles of it. Things to do. Your brain saying like, "Oh, I totally forgot I need to do that." Or like, here's a scenario. If you can relate, then you're going to need this 3 folder system. You go to Lowe's to get light bulbs. And once you're in Lowe's, your brain automatically goes, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot I need this, 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 and this." And you get this cascading, overwhelming remembering of things you need to do because the context of being in Lowe's brings them all up. Otherwise, they were totally out of your mind. And this is where the saying, your brain is a creative tool, not a storage device, right? Like we're not meant to remember all that random stuff. We're created to generate thoughts with our brains. So what I like to do is come up with systems that collect all of those remembering things, right? So instead of being a storage device, let devices take that storage so I can use my brain as a creative tool. And one of them is a folder system. So I recommend, and this is in the comments, so you can refer back to it or copy and paste it or totally ignore it because that's the thing too. 3 folders. Label 1, waiting on, 1, projects, and 1, long-term projects. And then how do you use them? So you get incoming to-dos, whether it's a piece of mail with a bill or a letter or some survey or something, or it's just like you walk by, going back to the light bulb through your kitchen. You're like, oh gosh, the light bulb's out and I don't have any. So what I do is I keep scrap paper in key places in the house. So on my desk and in a little basket in the kitchen, because those are 2 places I frequent and think about stuff, like doing dishes for some reason. Always makes me think. And it's just like random paper cut into strips, right? It's not even uniform. Whenever I think of it to do, I put it on this little piece of paper. And then it goes in one of those 3 folders. So prior, I've shared the strategy of something takes less than 2 minutes, you do it immediately. So for the light bulb example, if I actually have light bulbs, that takes less than 2 minutes. I'm not going to write on a slip of paper. I'm just going to do it when I need to do it and get it over with. But if I don't have light bulbs, that takes more than 2 minutes because I'm going to have to go buy them. So I write it on a slip of paper. Now I have 3 folders. So this paper is either going to go into waiting on, projects, or long-term projects, right? This is a project. It should not take me months to go to Lowe's or wherever and get some light bulbs and change a light bulb in the kitchen. So these folders are really helpful because then instead of having a pile of things to do, it's dispersed into where you need them. So let's define them. Waiting on means it's something I want to do, but I can't until something else happens. I know, like, my example with the light bulbs, it sounds like something else needs to happen, like going to Lowe's, but I'm not really waiting on someone else or a deadline or a date. That's just me needing to schedule time to do it. So that's not a waiting on, that's a project. Waiting on is like, um, I have to register my son for a sports league, but I'm waiting on the date for registration. So I just put a note in there about that moment, put it in waiting on. And then once a week, I'm going to flip through that waiting on folder and see if anything's come to fruition. And if it is, I'm going to deal with it or put it in my projects folder. So let's move on to the next one. Projects is any short-term things. You get to define this however you want. For me, it's like kind of within a month's period. If it takes longer than a month, it goes somewhere else for me. But you get to define that for your own system. But projects are things that I need to do, but they're not necessarily deadline dependent. And I like to put stuff in there that takes anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 hours. You know, if it's bigger than that, I try to break it down before I organize it in my own scheduling. But the projects folder is nice because once a day, I commit to that folder. If I have 5 minutes, I'm going to go through my projects folder and just find a 5-minute task. But some days I'm going to have an hour, so I can go through that projects folder and do something that takes a little bit longer. But the problem is we also have things that are long-term projects that are big, giant tasks that are not deadline dependent, but they just keep getting filed to the I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. So for me, one of the best examples of what that looks like is wanting to be a writer and wanting to write a novel. Well, it feels like such a big, huge, overwhelming task that whenever I have an hour or 5 minutes in a day, it's like I have so many other things to do. But if I don't keep that on my radar, I'm going to forget about it and never do it. So I put it in what's called my long-term projects folder. And there I have these big kind of life purposeful things. Or if you've been here every week, I talked about this the other, I think it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago, like that 30,000 foot view, right? Like it's not a daily task or even a monthly task. It's kind of a life vision and goal. But if I'm not putting time and effort into it, I'm never going to reach it. It could be something like a reminder to save money for budgeting and some projects you want to do. It could be like a household chore, like cleaning the gutters or something along those lines. But I make sure I check that every month, and then I get to say like, all right, this has been in here for the past 3 months and I've done nothing for it. I either need to decide to let this project go or I need to start putting it on my calendar. Or maybe I need to break it down into smaller pieces. So that's where those 3 folders come into play. They just kind of help you keep a finger on what you need to do. So I'm just gonna stop talking for a moment and see if any questions come in regarding the systems, or if any of you are new here and you don't see the comment that explains them, let me know and I'll repost it. All right. Awkward silence. I'm trying to get better about sitting with silence. That's one of my goals. I don't have it in any of my folders, but it's in my heart. I don't know. I hope that something I said was helpful for you. Like I mentioned, I do have an extensive filing system because I love manila folders. So I also have a folder for specific like things, bills, tasks, whatever, work, etc., etc. But these 3 keep me organized in the things that I have to do that I haven't done yet. They're not like reference folders, I guess. And I guess I'll end our Monday session with a part of one of my poems. Only the beginning of it has to do with manila folders. The rest is kind of, I don't know, fiction and literary. So I'm not going to read that, but I'll start with the beginning. You filed papers. Long after school was over and the other kids went home, you stayed. The manila folders provided delicious comfort with their undulating, soldiered tabs, left, center, right, left, center, right, topped with the curling scroll of your teacher's script spreading light pencils straight across each one, somehow steady even though no true lines existed. Occupied, your mind would recount the entire alphabet in the space of one breath each time your little hand touched a piece of paper. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Then you'd put it in its place. Like I said, the poem goes on, but I'm just gonna skip the rest of it. Maybe for the next Get Right class I'll share it, but today's about being productive. Elizabeth, thanks for tuning in, and Vinny, great to know that it's helpful. I'll keep expanding, and if you're curious, a lot of the things that I've adapted come from the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. I recommend watching any of his talks. You can find him on YouTube. Look up one of his articles. Another person I often go to for productivity is James Clear. He talks about stuff really concisely and descriptively, so it's easy to latch onto. I find it really helpful, but they're by far not the only people out there producing good content. If you have someone that you love, feel free to share with me because I absolutely enjoy nerding out on anything efficiency or productivity or data related. So I'd like that. And one last time, I'll post the actual specific tip into the comments so that people can see it. Maybe if I can figure out how. Oh, this new update just like does not work. Here we go. Okay, operator error. The update's fine. It was totally me. But yeah, so I got the folder tips in there. If you comment on this post, even after I end the live video, those notifications will come to me. And also feel free to direct message me, either through Rock Covery's page or Lisa Steiner, whichever one. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. That being said, I appreciate you being here. Whether you're productive or not, I hope you find some moments to embed positivity into your day. Monday's my favorite. Like, it's a wonderful time to kick off the week with the right attitude. I mean, it's raining, but you don't need sunshine to be productive and or happy. So I hope you all feel the same, or actually, I hate saying that. I don't want to tell you how to feel. I don't hope anything. Do what you gotta do. I'll do what I gotta do, and we can all come together and share about it. I think this awkwardness means it's time for me to go. I love you all. I'll see you next week, and